All right, all right. So actually, this is the second take because I'm an idiot, but it's okay. So I have someone here today with me, and that's Neagat from, I think everyone in the little wargame universe knows you already, as I'm a big fan and watched pretty much when I started exploring the game and the community. I started watching your content as well as Square Root ones, and I think the one Raider opening where you explained how to do that on Ravaged with the Archer follow-up and only building one Raider was the first video I ever watched, and I also copied it for the first 5 games or so. So yeah, nice to have you here with me today.
Thank you. Thank you. That's an honor. Consciously Eating. Thank you for having me and for inviting me to cast this replay together, so that we can see the things that are going on. This is a ProLeague game that was played between DestroyCALL and Claude. So very excited to see how that goes. Very excited.
Indeed. We already know the first few minutes because it's the second take. So yeah, we know he's just annoying Clad a bit with his worker, and actually Clad will build his castle first, but as you already explained, the build DestroyCALL is doing, you also experimented with it a bit. So the huge benefits for DestroyCALL are now the safety, you said, right?
Yeah, I can go into a little bit of detail. So basically, Claude here is going for a castle first build. He's not building any any wolf dens, any like production, and DC is going to be able to scout this out with this worker, whereas DC has gone for this really flexible build that comes from the wolf's den, but not building any wolves. Essentially, it's the exact same as a castle first build, except you delay your castle by 100 gold to get this wolf den. And then basically once you put down your castle, you can start building wolves right away. And if you notice, Claude is also doing castle first, but he's going to have to delay his defensive units, his wolves, by not just the amount of gold he has in his bank, but the amount of time it takes to produce the wolf den. So yes, I mentioned earlier in the first cast that this is a build that I have been experimenting with a lot more. DC's take on it is a lot more defensive because he gets to build his wolf den, but also do a worker scout, which is a considerable amount of resources, especially on a larger map, to send a worker all the way onto the other side. But it lets him match the greed of his opponent by successfully pulling off this castle, wolf den build, while at the same time being really defensive, having these wolves constantly scouting. Like he knows exactly where his opponent is in terms of his economy. Perhaps he's a little bit behind, maybe like 50 gold behind because of the faster castle. But ultimately, these two are basically on the same footing. DC has the more defensive/aggressive build because he's going to have a lot more defensive units. But we will see, as these 2 wolf dens are producing, we will see that Claude will be able to match the units that DC has gone for now. And at this point, it's really about the follow-up for DC. It does look like he is extremely nervous about the position DC might be, because we do see that he is starting to build a tower in his expand, and that is curious from DC in particular, because he's usually a stronger player who can fight against things like all-ins and things like this. So I'm kind of curious what's leading him to want to build this tower here.
Yeah, I'm actually was about to say that the tower is also kind of confusing to me, because usually in Beast vs Beast you try to match the supply of your opponent, right? So usually you would expect DestroyCALL to build a second den and just match the number of wolves here, but I think with the SimCity and how he's blocking the way here, and because we are on Sylvan Charm, he can take this third castle pretty easily. and at the same time, Clad is at his face, and because Clad didn't scout and wasn't with his wolves as fast as DestroyCALL was, he was not able to scout this tower. And now he's with his wolves in his in his second, and he cannot really engage. So yeah, it's a nice idea because the third is now very much faster than Clad's, and I think that will in the end make a difference, at least in the mid game. But at the same time, I think the Cladorhiza upgrade for dragons is also very interesting.
Yes, yeah, he's taking into dragons. He's even starting to get an animal testing lab. This is very funny. This last 30 seconds has basically been both opponents soul reading each other. DC knows that he wants to go for this greedy third base, and so and Claude, based off of the amount of wolves, based off of the amount of production that he sees, based off of this tower, kinda can also read that his opponent is going for a greedy third base inside of his own kind of setup here in terms of his own land. And so DC reads that and says, well, I need to get counters to dragons because I know that Claude is going to want to punish my greed here, and Claude is going to go for dragons because this is pretty much the only thing that can get around this tower. He's got the good SimCity, DC does, and so basically what DC decides at that point is to go for this advanced workshop, which is going to be the counter to the dragons, and it looks like he's going to start a airship and then immediately starts a ballista, which I think is fantastic. So both of these players playing really well into each other. It's like they have perfect information on it.
It looks like
even
they
though
played a lot against each other, but I think it's not the case.
No, I think this is really good deduction by Claude, and then even more so by DC to understand the position, to understand he went for a little bit more greed, going for this faster third base, having to get this tower set up. Ooh, I really hope he doesn't lose that worker. And then having the answers, like the only thing that could really punish this was dragons, but DC got the counter to the dragons. Yeah. Dragons do offer a lot of map control, I will say. Just given from the games that we've played against each other, consciously eating, they do offer a lot of map control. So it'll be very interesting to see how DC responds. Ooh,
I like the drop with the roofs, honestly. It's a nice response.
Getting his own pressure, trying to get his own map control.
But I think this airship is done for. Like, there's no way this airship is gonna get away, and he will definitely lose all the wolves, so it's a question of how much time can he survive.
Yeah, I don't like that DC full sent his wolves into this. He is disrupting the worker lines, so that's going to be two bases not mining for a little bit. He definitely wants to keep this airship alive for his other ballista. I mean, if he can park his wolves in Claude's worker line here and get some damage while Claude is busy microing on the other side of the map, but he doesn't. He can't. Claude is microing it perfectly.
What is he?
Then we
didn't kill a single worker yet.
Yeah. And then we have the ballistas on the other side of the map, so that saves the airship. But yeah, I kind of wish that DC just picked up the wolves and went home.
I think he was a bit scared of the damage the dragons will do take to pick up the wolves.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, okay, let's say the scenario happens where you lose the airship. It's really only 100 gold, right? Whereas if you're able to pick up the wolves and then, say, drop them off as you're retreating, you're able to keep the wolves alive. You have a larger ground army. You can build another airship. Should be fine.
Yeah.
So DC...
He's not that far behind, actually. I thought he would be more behind in supply. But actually, he's good. I mean, he's only 10 supply down. Or, yeah, almost 20. And that's, I think, is really good for DC.
Yeah, he's actually like 700 gold up in terms of resources mined. He's just down more. He lost more gold this game so far.
Yeah.
Ooh, DC chase dragons like this. This is where a lot of micro-intensive battles in Little War Game happen. Is just like airship control, and then at the same time he's starting to go for dragons and werewolf.
The interesting thing is that we see right now what you already explained with the map control these dragons give you, because Cladorhiza is abusing that and getting the next base. And I think right now is the point where he seems to kind of attack. I mean, he kills the dragon now, maybe two, but
that's really good micro.
Yeah. Oof, but he also.
He loses. Yeah, he has really weak dragons. I agree, but losing that airship could have been a huge mistake if DC did not have some sort of defenses. And now we see that.
That's both ballistas
really
down,
bad.
4 dragons for it, but 2 ballista and 3 airships. That's rough.
That is rough. Yeah. It's funny because he paired these wolves with his dragons to try to go for the ballista, and basically, as the dragon player, you're trying to kill as many ballista as possible, because as long as there's no ballista, you can get like an infinite amount of value with your dragons. So it's all about killing as many ballista as possible. DC going for his own dragons, and yes, we do see that Claude has gone for the 4th base. Now he's going for a 5th, which is quite
greedy.
Quite good. Greedy. Oh, okay, let's look at supply. Yeah, Claude is behind in terms of supply. Yeah, 5 bases against Beast. That might be pretty interesting, actually. And DC's going for his own werewolves now, so he's got some tech. He's got some tech advantage. He's getting 2 upgrades, whereas Claude is also getting 2 upgrades, but he hasn't really progressed in terms of tech. He's just going for more dragons, actually. He's got 5 dragon layers. That's pretty intense.
Can you maybe explain to me what these werewolves do? I mean, I saw that he's upgrading his dens, but I don't get why would you get werewolves in this scenario, because it's an air battle, right? You want to have ballistas mixed up with dragons, and then you want to win this fight, and whoever wins the fight wins the game. Well, that's the map control.
Yeah.
But the werewolves, like, they don't really fit in my world.
Yeah, it might have. I agree. I actually don't think werewolves fit very well into this at all. Looks like DC is losing this dragon battle in the middle of the map, despite having the ballistas for the support. It might be up to supporting the ballistas. That might be what's going on here. Maybe you want. Oh, DC. Oh, whoa. He's doing a lot of damage to Claude's fifth.
Maybe that's the sole purpose of the werewolves. Just clubbing down these castles. Maybe that's
I think wolves could have done it just as well, but it might be like to support a ground army, or like specifically to support the ballistas in your main armies. Like if there are werewolves with this fight that's happening in the middle of the map, then keep the ballistas safe from other wolves. But it might be overkill against Beast. You kind of just need dragons and ballistas against.
I mean, he's kind of winning the fight, right?
He is.
It does look like. I mean, he's using this ballista sparingly.
He's actually keeping him alive with the airship micro. It's really good.
Yeah. Really level down by this.
I think what it is in case his opponent transitions out of dragons, and now you have like useless ballista. That could be a question. But yeah, I think VC is just thinking a little bit too far ahead. Getting more ballista and more dragons here is going to be the advantage he wants. And I love how he's pairing ballistas with ballista.
But he lost the air superiority. Because there are
Exactly.
five or six dragons versus 3. And
Yeah.
yeah, the werewolves don't do anything. I mean, okay, he marches towards the bases of Clad again. And I guess Clad cannot do anything against the werewolves, on the ground at least. And in the air, he's busy with the dragons from the DC. Maybe that's it. Like,
Maybe. I do think Claude has the winning idea though. Until DC starts getting these ballistas back up, I think he needs another advanced workshop. I don't think getting more dragons like for DC is the answer. I really think it's the ballista because Claude already has the dragon advantage, and now DC is basically going for like all in.
yeah,
as long as
it's just on the buildings, right? That's the difference. He wants to do real damage with this werewolf. But actually, they don't take that much damage from the dragons. I thought they would die faster, but they don't really die fast. He still has 6 or 5 left. It's actually a lot of damage, DC.
Yes, yeah. They have 6 armor, so the dragons are only doing like 8 damage to the werewolves, and they have such a high health that yes, it takes a large amount of time for anything to kill werewolves. We do see that. Let's take a look at supplies. Claude is ahead in terms of supply. DC is behind. He is getting more dragons. He does have the airship with the ballista inside. Claude kind of needs to stop DC from mining. At this point, they have both mined equally and lost equally.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's really close, but this is where the ballistas come in because of how hard of a counter they are into dragons. Well, I do want to see Claude micro back some of these dragons. Yeah, split some of these dragons, take the damaged ones back. You don't want to lose. You basically lost 2 dragons for free. You don't want to fight into the ballistas when you're clumped. So yeah, even though Claude might have more dragons right now, it definitely looks like DC has the air superiority, specifically because of that ballistas with the airship, and he's going to be able to defend this 4th base, whereas Claude is he starting to get
his
a
own
base?
Kinda. He tries.
Yes, he is. He is.
But I'm surprised that Clad is not getting ballistas on his own. He would win because he has the superior amount of dragons right now, right? He could just add 2 ballistas and an airship as well and would win the next air fight. I think.
Yes. I think so too. If he was going for a similar setup, ballistas and dragons, hey, that might actually be like the late game composition. However, I think that's fireball. Yes, and immediately with that, DC has the advantage with dragons now, and they just keep coming.
Look at this red leech horse.
Yes,
that is a mistake. He should move his dragons down.
Yeah. Might be a little too late. Like, took a bad fight. The ballistas, they were so versatile with how much damage they had done. Brings his own ballista forward. Wants to do damage. Another fireball here would be really strong. There we see it. More dragons approaching, and yeah. So at this point, Claude has lost the crucial. It's just a point of no return where you lost too many dragons, and now it's snowballing till you lose. Yeah. Definitely loved the way that DC was able to incorporate ballistas into his dragon comp.
Yeah, the werewolf actually was awesome. Like, playing werewolves and just clubbing down, I think, 3 castles. He killed, I think, 3 castles with it.
Yeah, he killed 3 castles, yeah.
It was awesome. Really, really well played by DestroyCALL. But well done by Clad as well. Like, he held it on his own a lot.
It was a close game.
Yeah.
It was a very close game.
Unexpected. I think DC was the clear favorite. I mean, in the end he won, but was closer than it should have been. And in the end, I think the only difference and the winning idea was the ballista integration into the armies.
I think so. I think so. Yeah, Claude had gone for a more. He basically had a build order win, as far as I could tell. He was mining more. He had good setup into what DC had done. DC had done a great build as well. He wasn't very hard or very far behind. But yeah, once Claude had essentially scouted that DC was going for that third, he made the right answers going for dragons. DC also made the right answers going for ballista, trying to defend against that incoming pressure that he knew would be coming. And it was just the execution really that
Yeah.
Brought DC forward in this game, as far as I could tell.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.